Liam Ottley is one of the biggest names on YouTube when it comes to AI, and he is arguably one of the best YouTube marketers in the business space right now. He is one of the biggest communities on School, and we can assume that he makes a minimum of 1 million per month with his mentorship alone. If we take a look at the pricing that he had in his last webinar, times how many students he has inside of the mentorship, that easily comes out to over $19 million. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly how much he's making. We can only speculate, but for the sake of this video, we're going to say that he makes a minimum of 1 million per month, even though chances are he probably makes a lot more than that as well. So in this video today, we're just going to be breaking down everything that he does to be able to do that, his entire YouTube strategy and what makes it so extremely effective. We're going to be looking into his Instagram, his X account, how he is actually monetizing his free school community. We're going to be breaking down all of his different landing pages, his webinars, his VSL funnels, everything. And then at the end, we're going to be breaking down what actually happened after I booked in a call with his sales team. So if you're running an online education offer yourself, if you're using Instagram, if you're using YouTube, then make sure you stick around for this video because there's going to be a lot of nuggets for you that you can implement yourself to make sure that you can be as effective to reach more people and to get more clients as possible. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to cover is his YouTube strategy. As you're going to see, he has two different YouTube channels, and YouTube is the platform that he has completely mastered. It's the platform that he's putting 90% of his effort into. As you're going to see later, he doesn't really do as much on Instagram or X. The main focus is his YouTube channel. And as you would know, if you've seen some of his stuff, he is extremely good at this. So the one thing that I want to mention first of all is that he always puts his agency first. So obviously the vehicle, the mechanism that he is selling is AI, and specifically helping people start AI agencies where they can help other businesses implement AI and then obviously make money by doing that. And the cool thing is that he runs his own agency and he is being very vocal about this in his marketing, right? Because that is going to be extremely convincing and build a lot of trust if he is actually doing the stuff that he is teaching himself. Now, I do think that he actually has his own agency, but the funny thing is that he always mentions this in his videos, and he, as you can see, the first link on his YouTube channel is to his agency, but in every single one of his videos, he is not promoting the agency. He is not making videos to get clients for the agency. He is making videos to get clients for his mentorship and basically get people into his program. But he wants to be very vocal about the fact that he runs his own agency because that gives him a lot of credibility and a lot of trust within his audience to actually make it more likely that people will work with him to learn about AI and how to start their own agency, right? So first of all, that is something that is very apparent in his entire marketing and basically in his entire brand. Now, if we take a deeper look into like what specific types of videos he is making, he is very strategic on YouTube. And the first thing that you can see if you actually start to dig on this is he is making three main types of videos. Now, this is very common. A lot of big creators do this because you basically need all three to grow a, I guess, profitable YouTube channel or even Instagram, whatever you do, right? You need top of funnel traffic. And this is where you are focused. Like the focus of the video is to reach more people and to get more people into your, I guess, account in this place or in this case, right? So as you can see, this video is an outlier, and this video is very focused on beginners. How to build and sell AI agents in 2026, Ultimate Beginner's Guide. This is a very top of funnel video. It is going to be interesting to a broad pool of people. You don't even really need to be that interested in AI. You might just be interested in making money online, right? So it's a very top of funnel video, which is basically focused on getting more reach, which is why this video was an outlier on his channel. That was the entire focus of the video. The next one is more middle of funnel. This is more when you nurture your audience. As you can see, how to make 20K per month with Cloud Code. This is way more specific. It's going to be interesting to a more sophisticated, I guess, person that is already looking into these kinds of things, and probably somebody that is already following him and already being interested in that topic. So he is nurturing them. And the focus on this video is, again, nurture. He is giving more value. He is showing his expertise. He might be weaving in more client results and everything, which we're also going to be touching on in a second because he does a very good job in every single video to nurture like crazy. essentially. We're going to be looking into that in a second. And then the last type of video that he is making is bottom of funnel. And this is more conversion specific, right? So this is basically where, for example, in this case, I set up Claude Code operating system for 6 founders in 8 hours. This is very like social proof heavy. He is showing that he is an expert and that he can help other people implement this stuff as well. So in this video, he is in person showing, kind of newbies to the AI game, how to set up their operating systems, how to basically like craft their offers and everything. So this is going to be very interesting to somebody that would be interested in working with him, to see kind of how it would be like to work with him, how he basically helps his clients and everything, a conversion heavy video. And this is again going to be more interesting to the people that are further down in the, pipeline and more ready to buy. And like I said, you should focus on all 3 of these if you want to make a successful channel, because you want to reach more people, you want to grow your account, you want to nurture as many of the interested people as possible, and you want to make sure that you are showing that you're an expert and that you can help people to make it more likely that people actually convert. Now, like I said, he does a very good job in every single one of his videos to make it into a sales asset. Right? So he is pre-selling very, very well in a lot of his videos. If you go and check out one of his videos after this video, then you're going to see this, right? Because he uses a lot of statistics. Obviously, AI is a very big opportunity, right? So he has a lot of FOMO, and he can leverage this FOMO and urgency in his videos. Like I also mentioned, he is running his own agency. So, off the bat, he has a lot of trust and a lot of authority by just mentioning that he runs his own agency. It's a big agency. He also has a lot of trust and authority with the fact that he is running one of the biggest communities in the AI space, and he's helped so many people start with AI. And you're going to see in the video that he's constantly referring back to this. The fact that this is a big opportunity, he has his own agency, and he's helped so many people start their own agency. The FOMO and urgency that you need to get into AI right now. He's also using a lot of the us versus them marketing, basically, where he is referring to the viewer as being early, that we are going to be the guys that are implementing AI and understanding AI and leveraging AI and capitalizing on AI, whereas most people, they don't ever learn about this stuff and they're going to be left behind. So makes the viewer kind of feel like they're in on something, like they're early, that kind of stuff. And then as a result, he's doing a lot of subtle selling in his videos. So he would say stuff, for example, like, this is how complete beginners are getting their first client within 9 days on average, based off of the 4,000 people that we have helped inside of our #1 community when it comes to AI. And then he would talk about the community and everything like that. That is going to be very compelling to a person that is looking into this, because he's using actual statistics, and he is also mentioning that he's helped so many people, right? So he's using a lot of subtle selling. There's very few times that he is directly pitching working with him. He is either using statistics from Google, which is another thing, right? Or his statistics from his agency or from within the program. And he might be pitching the school community as somebody, joining the school, which we're going to be touching on in a second, like basically what he is doing to convert his audience. But like I said, he's using a lot of case studies too, right? So he's using case studies from within his community, not to sell you, but to like prove his point with a video, which makes the selling very subtle. So a big takeaway is, it's often better to not be direct with your selling, but be indirect, right? So he is, for example, in person with clients, showing them how he would help his clients implement certain things, which is going to be subtle, because if people are interested in working with him, then they're going to be interested in understanding what it's actually going to look like to work with him. Same as when he is using case studies and even statistics from within his community, he is subtly selling and showing the results that he is actually getting without really pitching you directly, right? So again, using case studies from his students, he's using his experience with his own agency, the results with his own agency, and again, statistics. He's breaking limiting beliefs, right? So again, he's saying stuff like, this is how complete beginners are getting their first client within 9 days on average. Or this is how we are seeing that, 80% of the people that start an AI agency actually start making money within the first 2 months. Stuff like that. He is using statistics to break down these limiting beliefs. And also when it comes to, oh, it's difficult to get clients, we've actually seen that it's not that difficult to get clients. He would constantly be saying stuff like this in the videos, right? And then, like I said, he's using statistics because, as we would know, AI is on the rise. There are a lot of statistics showing the rise of AI and how many people are implementing it and everything like that. So by him using these statistics in his videos makes the point a lot more compelling. And he is not just telling you whatever, he is actually showing proof behind what he is telling you, right? So it makes it a lot more compelling. So my point is that when he does this in every single video becomes a sales asset. So yes, even though he has top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content, every single video basically does a very good job at nurturing you and making you more interested in watching the next video, which gets me on to the next point, which is at every single ending of the video, he has a pitch to the next video. So he might be saying, okay, now you understand how to implement Claude Code, but now you need to understand how you can actually, I guess, craft an offer to sell this to other businesses. So you need to check out this video. So he would constantly pitch you the next video and create an open loop in the video. So you would be more inclined to click on the next, where the whole point of this is that he wants you to binge watch this content. And the reason for this is two things. Obviously, if you binge watch the content, you're going to be extremely nurtured after watching 3 or 4 videos. But also it tells YouTube that people are loving his content because they're clicking on the next one and the next one and starting to binge the content, which is going to tell YouTube this video is good, which is going to push it out to more people. So he is getting you more warmed up, and also he's reaching more people by doing this, right? So he's doing a very, very good job on YouTube. And if you actually check out some of his videos, I would encourage you to actually go and check out some of the videos after this one. You're going to see all of this in action. So if we break this down, right, like he is providing a ton of value. For example, with a video like this, 2.5 million views with a full guide or like a free course video, basically, right? It's almost 4 hours long and it has 2.5 million views. I would bet that this video alone made him millions and millions, because inside of this video, he has a lot of social proof. He is giving a shit ton of actual value, tactical value that people can start implement. And he also has probably a lot of pitches for people to join the school community, or potentially even directly to check out the VSL and like booking in a call if they want any help with this, right? So 2.5 million views is insane, right? This is one of the few videos, a free course that acts as like a top of funnel video, because it usually gets a lot of interest and a lot of views, but it's also very middle of funnel focused, where you're giving a lot of value. People are, spending 4 hours with you in the video, and you're also able to show a lot of case studies and, pitch whatever service you have. So these videos are usually very, very good for converting your audience at the same time as it usually gets a lot of views. So my point is, he's giving value in every single video. Every single one of his videos are actually valuable. It's actually stuff that people in his industry or his ICP would probably find very, very valuable. So they start to trust him. He's also documenting his own journey, building his own agency behind the scenes of everything he's doing, which we're going to go into when we get to the next channel, because that is basically the focus of the next, like his second channel. He's showing his lifestyle, which we're also going to look into on Instagram, on his vlogs channel too. He's also being personal. So he's showing his own, his own story. He's also using a lot of this in the videos to create a little bit of authority. He's going back to like, and I don't know the name, or I don't know the year, but he's talking about when he first got started and he was sitting in his room and, researching all of these things before AI really boomed and, everything like that. So he's using his own personal story a lot for you to resonate with him, right? Because that is what his ideal audience is now going to be in that situation. They're going to be in their room. They're going to be looking at AI when it feels like nobody is really interested. So he's building a connection with them. And then also, like I said, in every single video that I saw, at least, he is using proof in every single one of them, right? He's referring back to his audience, or referring back to his clients, referring back to the results that they're getting. So when he is constantly doing this over and over and over again in every single video, it becomes extremely compelling. And if you were into AI and you were struggling, chances are you would want to work with somebody like this. He's a big dog in the industry. He has really good results. He is showing it over and over again. You're resonating with him because he's showing and referring back to his story when he first got started, which is now very similar to where you are at in your journey. And he's using statistics, sharing client results and everything, like over and over and over again. Like you're going to be very, very nurtured after watching a few of his videos, you know. The next thing is going to be his vlogs channel. And obviously you can say, yes, maybe he likes making vlogs. Maybe he did it for like whatever purposes. But what this actually does is going to help his main channel a lot, right? Because on this channel, it's very condensed. It's very value-based. It's usually a sit-down video with him. I would imagine a lot of these videos are scripted. It doesn't really build the personal connection and show who he really is as a person. Whereas on the vlogs channel, this is exactly what the purpose is, or at least what it's doing. I'm not sure if that was the purpose, but it is at least what it's doing, right? So even though we had a main channel, which is, you know, huge, it's way, way bigger than this one, he chose to create a second channel for vlogs and showing behind the scenes 8 months ago. And the reason, I'm not sure the reason why he did it, but at least what this is doing is that it's showing behind the scenes of what he's doing, which is going to be very compelling if somebody are interested in working with him and interested in actually starting their own agency, because they're going to get to know him as a person. They're going to see the lifestyle that he is living as a result of what he is building. And they're going to start to know, like, and trust him. And they're going to see all of the associations that is around him, right? Like the places he is at, the people that he is hanging around with, you know, probably his team, like who is actually on his team, like who is he working with? All of this is going to just sell them even more. Showing behind the scenes, sharing the lifestyle, getting to know his actual personality, because in these vlogs, it's not scripted, right? It's off the cuff. He's showing himself, you know, in the morning, what he has for breakfast, how he's working, him playing paddle, like whatever he's doing, surrounded by other people, the lifestyle he is living, where he is traveling to. Like they get to actually know him as a person. It's also aspirational, right? People want to actually live this life. Like this is, you know, probably why they want to get into AI in the first place, is to get this lifestyle. So if he can showcase that in a subtle, again, it's subtle, right? Like it's not in your face. He's just literally making vlogs, but it's very powerful. And like I said, he also builds associations, right? The cars he is driving, the lifestyle he is living. But he's not flashing it. It's just literally what he does. Like it is his life, right? But it's going to be very good for his audience, or to nurture up leads that would be interested in starting the AI agency or whatever. They can now get a more understanding of who this person is, what he is actually doing, what it's going to look like when you're actually building something, and all of these things. By the way, if you have an education offer, if you are doing anything like this, similar, and you want a full audit of your entire funnel, just like I did now with Liam, over your business, looking at your content, looking at your YouTube, looking at your Instagram, looking at your funnel, looking at everything, then there's going to be a link in the description for you to book in a call with me. We have helped our clients generate over $1 million doing this exact thing for them. So with that being said, if you want me to personally go over everything in your business, see if there's any improvements to be made, and potentially if we can help you make them, then like I said, there's going to be a link in the description for you to do so. So again, YouTube, absolutely the main platform that he is using, and he is doing an extremely, extremely good job with his YouTube channel, like both of them essentially. So if you have some time, I would highly suggest you go and watch some of his videos, because you're going to see a lot of like subtle selling in his videos that is very easily implemented into any video that you might be making, and it's probably going to get you really good results as well. Now over to the Instagram and X. First of all, he doesn't really focus that much on Instagram, right? He is mainly just putting out, you know, a few reels. He doesn't even have 20 reels posted. And all of these reels are just like usually edits, right? Like there's no effort into, like, he's not focused on getting clients with his Instagram. It's more so just showing his life, the lifestyle. Obviously, again, this does have an effect on probably a person that would be interested in working with him, because they're probably going to check out his Instagram. They're going to see the lifestyle again. It's kind of similar to the vlogs channel, but I don't really think he has a huge intention with this. He's just posting whatever he is doing, documenting the journey on Instagram, I guess. So there's no real focus on Instagram. He doesn't really have like a crazy bio, nothing like that. So again, if we're going to be looking at this, I guess from a different perspective, he's doing the opposite than, for example, somebody like Shelby Sapp. She is doing extremely heavily focus on Instagram, and she's not really that focused on YouTube, right? She still posts on YouTube, but it's kind of the opposite from Liam, right? He is extremely focused on YouTube, not so much on Instagram. Shelby Sapp is the opposite, right? And they both make a shit ton of money. They both make over $1 million per month, for sure. I think Shelby Sapp had her sales manager put out that she made like 5 point something million in a month a few months back, which is insane, right? So my point is like, whatever you want to do, you don't have to feel forced to like, oh, I need to do YouTube or I need to do Instagram or I need to do both. Like doing a mix of both is probably good, but there is countless examples of people that are only doing one of them or doing the other and making a shit ton of money, which is a lot of the time I guess, it's marketed like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this. When in reality, there are countless examples of people making whatever they want to do work, right? Now, like I said, he doesn't really focus too much on Instagram. Same on X, honestly. I would imagine that he has somebody that does this for him, so it's automated. I don't think he actually, writes these tweets himself, but he is fairly consistent on Twitter, right? He's basically just posting a thread, I think it's called a thread, and then he just links back to his YouTube channel. He doesn't have anything crazy going on, but every single tweet links back to his YouTube channel. So I would imagine that he gets some reach from X. He's just trying to get as much as he can over to his YouTube channel because that is his main focus, that is his main funnel, and he wants obviously as many people to get to watch his videos as possible. And then in his bio, very simple, he just has who he is, what he does, who he helps, an authority statement of like how many people he's worked with. And then in the pinned post, he has just like a little bit about his story, like basically who he is, leading with proof, showing his authority, basically just showing why, people should follow along and check his stuff out, right? So nothing crazy again, like definitely not a big focus of it, like for him. You can even see here, like he hasn't updated this bio for like 100,000 members inside of his community. So I don't think he's super, he doesn't focus too much on this. He doesn't really need to. He has YouTube, But it just goes to show, like, some people are focused on this, some people are focused on that. Some people want to do Instagram, some people want to do YouTube, some people want to do both, It doesn't really matter, but you want to find something that you like, that you can be consistent with, and that is the most important thing. Because at the end of the day, everything works, There is countless examples of everything working. Now, as you're going to see here as well, inside of his YouTube videos, he basically links back to, in this specific description, he actually has a webinar, which we're also going to be breaking down and looking into kind of like the webinar funnel that he had in place. But as you can see, the main thing that he is constantly pushing people into is the school community. He also has like his VSL and stuff, but he doesn't usually pitch this in the video. What he is pitching in the video is for people to join the community, right? So within the community, this is what is going on. Like I said, he has one of the biggest school communities in the world. I normally wouldn't really recommend people starting like a community unless you have like a really big audience, because it is a lot of work to get this to actually work, right? Like as you can see, they're doing multiple calls per week inside of the community. He's put a lot of effort into his actual courses, and because he has so much traffic, this is going to work for him. If you don't have a lot of traffic, what I usually see is like, to start the school community, you get some members, and then it just kind of dies out because you don't have time or energy to put into getting the community active when you don't really make any money from it. But in this case, he has so much traffic. He literally has 300,000 inside of his free community. This is one of his main conversion mechanisms. And I actually did join the community. As you can imagine, the first thing that happened is I got an automated message. I would imagine this to be automated because as soon as I sent a question back, they didn't reply. So I would imagine this is just automated. But yeah, basically what happened, he sent a video, or he sent a message with Liam and him on a call just to show that he is actually with Liam's team. And then from there, he sent me the VSL. And then from there, he sent me the link to book in a call. Now, I would imagine this is just automated. So this is not very good appointment setting by any means. And again, if you have a smaller account, then this is probably not going to work. But if you have as much volume as this guy, this is probably going to be his best bet. He's just sending a automated message to every single person that joins. I would imagine that he has hundreds, if not thousands of people join every single day. Then probably hundreds. I'm not sure about thousands, but he probably has a good amount of people joining every single day. And if he's sending this message to every single person, and he might also have an appointment setter on the back end that might be reaching out to some of the leads if they have any questions and stuff to do a better job with like handling those and getting them booked in for a call. But this is going to be extremely effective. He probably books a shit ton of calls every single day just with this. And then also inside of here, like I said, he's doing weekly calls. I would imagine that he is giving a lot of value on these calls, and also potentially linking back to the fact that he has a actual mentorship. Obviously, it's not him doing these calls, but his team. And I would imagine that there are going to be some pitches in these weekly calls towards the main mentorship. As you can see also over here, he has like a free course. I'm not sure actually if this is just compiled of his YouTube videos or if he's actually made a course specifically for the school community. But regardless, he is giving value. This is more beginner level stuff. So I would imagine this serves two purposes. Number one, if you have complete beginners, it's going to, I guess, get them familiar, get them started so that there will be more of a fit to work with him in the main program, as time goes on. And the second thing is, if they are more advanced, they're probably going to check this out and understand very quickly that they need more help. This is not going to cut it. And that is when he has all of his success stories, his case studies. He has a one-on-one coaching pitch. And then he also has, again, linking back to his YouTube videos, the vlogs channel, which again links back to the main channel, which gets them back into the funnel, right? So if somebody would start from, let's say somebody came into a school community without coming from YouTube, he would again get them back into the YouTube funnel essentially. Now in the pinned post, very simple. He has a pitch to the program. He has a little bit about him and his story, and then he is, I guess, using one of these to like hire for his agency. And also, this is also very good marketing, right? Because yes, he might be actually hiring for his agency, but it's also good marketing to show that he actually has an agency. He needs more people. Like, it's going to be good marketing, right? If you are selling somebody a business model, if you can show that you're actively doing that business model yourself and you are making money with that business model, that is going to be extremely compelling to people, right? Because number one, you know what you're talking about. Number two, you're not just selling a course as a lot of people don't like. Everything like that. It's going to be very, very good if you can show that you are doing the stuff that you're actually teaching, right? So if it's trading, if it's a certain business, if it's whatever, right? You get the point. And then, like I said, also he has the appointment setting inside of the community, and he's getting so much traffic that this probably converts extremely well for him, and it also warms people up, nurtures people over time, that kind of stuff. But again, if you have a smaller audience, I've seen so many failed attempts with this because there's just not the traffic to sustain it, right? But if you have a huge audience, then this becomes a little bit more tangible. Now, next thing is going to be his actual landing pages. So like I said, he has the AI agency. We're not really going to break this down. It's very, very simple. But again, he has his agency. I do believe that he is actually running the agency. But at the same time, like I said, the first link in every single thing is towards his agency. So even though he's not marketing for getting leads for his agency on his YouTube channel, he wants it to be very apparent that he runs an agency. He's talking about it in his videos. The first link in his description is towards his agency, work with my agency and everything like that. So again, this builds a lot of credibility, builds a lot of trust. It shows that he is actively doing the stuff that he is teaching, and people can actually go and verify this. They can check out the agency's website. They can, X, Y, and Z. It's very, very apparent that he runs an agency, right? Which is going to help him a lot. The next thing is the VSL. So again, under the YouTube videos, inside of the school community and everything, he's linking back to the VSL. This is like a standard book a call funnel with a VSL on it. So basically the intention here is to filter out, I guess, like speak towards the good leads that he wants to book in a call, repel the ones that are not going to be a good fit, and then build a lot of interest, I guess, in like with his ICP. So as you can see over here, it's not like nothing crazy, but he has, first of all, written copy about the opportunity, like the AI opportunity. Then he has a VSL. Inside of the VSL, he speaks about, again, his story, his agency, a lot of the case studies and results and everything that they have been able to get for his agency and for other students. Who this is for, who this is not for, the typical VSL stuff. It's actually a pretty short VSL as well, so not super, super long. And then from there, it's just who he is, results that he has been able to get for his agency, for his clients within the program, book in a call, what you're going to be getting, everything like that. All the coaches inside. So a big thing that they are focused on is that they are one of the biggest in the space, right? So they have a lot of leverage by using the fact that they have the biggest community. They have one of the, leading agencies, as he says, and he has probably helped, I'm not sure, but probably he's helped most out of any AI agency mentorship. Like he has literally 3,800 students that he has helped. So they're playing a lot on this, and the fact that they are able to deliver a lot of one-on-one support that is marketed very well inside of the VSL, and just like making it seem as though, or not making it seem, but they're not marketing this as like a course. It's more a program, right? Like we're going to help you one-on-one. You're getting access to all of the coaches inside, everything like that, helping you set up everything, make you understand how the model works and how to get clients and everything. So it's very compelling. It's a very compelling offer, right? This is his like main VSL. So this is the one that he has been using on most of his YouTube videos and everything. I guess the main point of conversion, except the school community. Now, something that he also did, I'm not sure when exactly, but I saw this on his most recent YouTube videos, was that he linked to a webinar. I'm not sure how many webinars he's done, if this is the first one or whatever, but I would imagine that he's going to do more of them in the future as well. I wasn't able to see everything. This is obviously a updated landing page after the fact. But I would imagine like the reason he runs a webinar is because it's extremely powerful, right? Because it's just like an extremely long YouTube video, and at the end you have a very compelling pitch and you're doing it live in person, right? So he's giving value. He's spending 2 hours with you, basically giving you so much value, teaching you. It's interactive. You can type in the chat. He can answer your questions. You usually have a Q&A inside of a webinar, right? So it's a very good conversion event, especially if you want to book like a shit ton of calls, and especially with the traffic that he is getting, because number one, he's getting it organically. So people already know, like, and trust him, most of them that are going to show up. And he can also very easily run, for example, retargeting ads to a huge pool of people and get a shit ton of registrants, right? Like he probably had tens of thousands of people live in the room with him. I'm not sure because I wasn't able to look at all of the numbers because it's already been done. But I would imagine so, right? Like he has a huge audience. And he's giving a lot of value. He's interacting with them. He's doing Q&As. And at the end of the day, it's just a 2-hour long sales pitch, right? He's opening a lot of loops. He's giving a lot of value without really giving them the proper solution. He's showing a lot of social proof, and he's interacting with the chat. He's doing a Q&A. And then at the end, he is literally just pitching you on booking in a call, I would imagine. Or if it's directly to the price, I'm not sure. But whatever the case might be, I would imagine he made a shit ton of money from this webinar, right? So again, we don't know. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he at least ran a webinar. Seems like the price was 5K, or you could book in a call, and then very standard, right? Like in a situation like this, it's going to be extremely effective, but you also don't need a huge audience to make something like this work, right? Like we've ran webinars for our clients as well, and you don't need to have a huge audience. You can do it with ads. You can do it with your audience. You can run retargeting ads. Usually it's going to be very compelling. And the reason why is, for example, with a VSL, you're basically just getting people to watch a video and booking a call, right? With a webinar, the pitch is that you're going to be spending 2 hours with them, learning, like teaching them all of the sauce. And then when they show up, they're live. They can speak to you in person. They can see you in person live, and they can actually ask you questions live. It's very compelling to people that would be interested in this kind of thing. And then obviously you would have an offer. You would have a pitch that like, this is what we're going to be covering on the webinar to speak to the ICP. So it's going to be a very good event to get a lot of people to show up with a lot of intent and a lot of interest. And then as you go over the 2 hour, the 2 hour sales pitch, showing all the results, giving them all of these open loops that now they have so many questions and have so many unanswered, concerns and everything about, not concerns, but concerns about how they would be implementing this themselves. So now they want to book in a call with you, or now they're even more interested in actually working with you to get that help. So yeah, very effective. Now, usually how this goes, again, I wasn't able to see exactly how he did it, but usually you would have an opt-in page, which would be this one. This is obviously taken down now because the webinar has been going on in the past, but you would have an opt-in page like this. People would opt in. From there, you would have a confirmation page where you would just make sure they save the event, give them some details as to, the webinar, usually give them some sort of incentive to actually show up. And then from there, give them some sort of incentive to, I'm not sure what this guy did, but usually you would want to have people, for example, join a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group, because you want to make sure that you can send them updates every single day, send them a lot of case studies, send them a lot of results. And this is also going to boost the show up rates, right? So usually you would have like a lead magnet or something to get people into the WhatsApp group. From there, X amount of people would show up, usually between like, let's say 25 to 50%, 30 to 50%. Obviously, depending on if you're running ads or anything, but in this case, it's organic, I would imagine. So I would imagine that he probably had a pretty good show up rate as well. And then from there, some people drop off during the presentation. But imagine if you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people register, you know, and you have, let's say, 40% show up. You still have thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the webinar. And then usually if you do a good job, you would have a lot of these people be interested enough to stick around for the 2 hours because it is going to be actually valuable for them. And then imagine if you could book 10 to 20% of those people into a call. You know, it's going to be a big number of calls that you're booking, right? And you don't need a lot of people to register. You can do this with a few hundred or 1,000 or 2,000 registrants and still make a lot of money. It's just in this case, he probably had a lot more people sign up because of, you know, obviously his audience. So that is like the three main things that he is, I guess, running. It seems like the webinar is a little bit more recent. The AI agency, again, he's actually running the agency, I think, but it helps with his audience. And then the main VSL that it seems like he's been running for a long time. And then obviously the next thing is after you have booked in a call. So you've watched this YouTube, you've clicked on the school, you've been DM set in the school community, you booked in a call, you've been sent the VSL, you've checked it out. Now, you know, obviously what happens next. The first thing is he has the calendar, right? So I find it very interesting that he doesn't have any questions on the calendar. It's just name, email, and phone number, and that is it. It's funny, I booked in a call and all the way leading up to the call, I obviously canceled last minute, but all the way leading up to the call, they had no information about me. They didn't know my age. They didn't know, I guess, anything, like not how much I was making, not my experience, but like nothing. But essentially I booked in the call. From there, they had a confirmation page. So attention, your call is not yet confirmed. This is extremely important because you want to make sure that you are giving a lot of information to these people before the call. You want to break as many beliefs and make sure that they go through the steps that you need them to go through for them to show up and show up ready and also have the highest likelihood of them closing. So number one is just getting me to confirm my appointment, getting me to confirm on the email, making me click yes, making me add the calendar or the event to my calendar and that kind of thing. And then step two is they had a very quick like just explanation and video of like, this is what the call is going to be about, a little bit about the opportunity. I don't think this video is more than like 3 minutes long. And then he went into a little bit of the results. I think they could have done a way better job on this page with having FAQ videos, right? So naturally, you might have a lot of questions about the opportunity, about how long does it take for students to get results? What's the success rate of the students? X, Y, and Z. If you can answer all of these questions in FAQ videos, it's going to be way more likely that you can sell these people on the opportunity before they ever show up to the call, which is going to also give you a higher show rate and also a higher close rate. Also stuff like you can do, for example, reviews, right? Like you can make a video going over the reviews that you have, especially if you have good reviews on Trustpilot or whatever. You can make a video about this and you can be like, hey, I do understand you booked in a call with us. You probably want to do some research. Let me help you do that research right now. Let's pull up some of the reviews that we have and you can take a look for yourself, right? And you can help them and incentivize them to do research and to check out the reviews themselves. And if you have videos like this, it's going to be way more likely that they show up and they show up with intent. And they're going to be way more sold on the opportunity and the vehicle and you as a person to help them get there before the call. You can also, in this case, for example, use actual statistics on the video. Like you can show statistics about AI, statistics about the opportunity to make it more likely that they actually understand how important it is, for example, with urgency to show up. Like this opportunity might not be around, for example. This is AI, right? So that would be a very... that could be something that you could do on the pre-call page, right? So that's what I would say. Overall, it's okay. They get like the basic stuff down, but they could probably do a better job with this. However, we also need to keep in mind that most of his calls are being booked from YouTube, right? So if they come from the YouTube, if you've booked calls from YouTube before, you would know they're usually extremely warm. So potentially the thought behind this is most of the calls come from YouTube. So they would already have these things figured out. However, I think it's better to, I guess, give more than to give not enough, right? So I still probably think it would be better to have more stuff on the pre-call page, but it is what it is. The next thing is the emails and SMS. I also didn't get a lot of SMSs and emails leading up to the call. Most of them were just like, hey, remember we have a call coming up. This is like the main one that I got. Has the link, obviously very important. I would say bonus points because they did give me a lead magnet. It seems like my Wi-Fi is down so I can't show you, but yeah, whatever. But they were giving like a very big document and basically telling me to complete this before the call. And inside of the document, it was basically aimed towards how to find your, I guess, like what you're going to be selling with AI, like what your offer is going to be basically, right? So this is obviously one of the first things that you would need to figure out if you're going to be starting such an agency. It's also interactive because they tell you to actually finish this before the call, which is obviously going to be very good. If you can engage the leads, they're going to be way more likely to show up. They've completed this document. They're proud now, like everything like that, you know? So, and also it gives value. Like they're actually probably going to look at this document and be like, okay, this is actually good stuff. I actually appreciate them for giving me this. Let me show up, right? So everything that you can give them before the call, it's going to be just way better. You know, the more that you can do, the better. The next thing is the WhatsApp. This is literally the extent of the WhatsApp conversation. First of all, he reached out like hours and hours and hours after I booked in the call. So this is Kevin, obviously the salesperson I'm going to be speaking to. He didn't really give me anything. He gave me the VSL and told me to go back to the VSL and watch the entire page, which I told him I already did. And then he was like, great, see you tomorrow. I think, you know, if we go back here again, I think there are some major improvements to be made here. First of all, like I said, I literally booked in a call and they had no information about me. They only know my name, phone number, and email. They have no information about how much money I have to invest, how interested I am, if I already have a business or if I'm looking to start one, nothing. So the sales rep is going into the call completely blind. I didn't get any phone calls. I was reached out to on WhatsApp, but as you saw, it wasn't really anything special. So what I think is like, having a type form, for example, instead of straight to the calendar, having a type form, more questions, it's going to filter out a lot of the DQ leads because, again, he has a lot of traffic. So if he's not filtering anything, he's probably booking a lot of calls that are just a waste of time. And if he doesn't call the calls, like if he doesn't call the leads up before the sales call, then I would imagine that his sales team probably has a lot of just disqualified calls on the calendar, right? So either that, having a type form, having an SDR, having an appointments that are actually reaching out to these people and asking them questions before the call, or just keeping the calendar, but at least having somebody call up the leads before the call, or at least putting a few more questions on the actual calendar, right? So more questions, filtering out the people that are not going to be a good fit and speaking more directly to the people that are going to be a good fit, and just making a little bit more friction in the funnel is usually going to get you more like better quality calls, right? And not waste so much time. Also, like I said, I would have a better pre-call page, like more assets over here, where it's going to be more emails. We usually send between 3 and 4 emails every single day leading up to the appointment, where we are breaking limiting beliefs, we are showing case studies, we're sharing our personal story, we are giving insight into the opportunity, building urgency, scarcity, all that kind of stuff. So they show up to the call with more intent. And then also, like I said, on the pre-call page, having more FAQ videos, breaking down common questions that you see, common objections that you might have, show them the results, show them more testimonials, give them all the information that they might be asking for on the sales call so that once they show up, they're already extremely educated, and most of the time you can do a lot of the selling before the sales call even happens. And then also on WhatsApp, when reached out to, making sure that, you know, the person tells me like, you need to go through these videos before the call. If not, we're going to cancel the call, X, Y, and Z, so that they can make sure that all of the assets are consumed. So those are the main things. I would say the biggest room for improvement, I'd probably say in terms of like the booking process, but also, like I said, he has a lot of leverage because most of his calls are being booked from YouTube, right? So a lot of the leads are already going to be like very educated once they actually book in a call. However, I still, like I said, think it's better to give more versus less, and, you know, just make sure that they have all of these different things answered before the call. And you can also use this pre-call page and the pre-call emails to break a lot of common objections And also, like I said, filter out more of the DQ leads. However, his funnel is very good. And as you can see, the biggest point of leverage is going to be his YouTube channel. So hopefully you got some nuggets from it. There are definitely some things that can be implemented just from like taking a look at the stuff that he is putting out on YouTube and his funnel and everything like that. By the way, if you have an education offer, if you are doing anything like this similar and you want a full audit of your entire funnel, just like I did now with Liam, over your business, looking at your content, looking at your YouTube, looking at your Instagram, looking at your funnel, looking at everything, then there's going to be a link in the description for you to book in a call with me. We have helped our clients generate over $1 million doing this exact thing for them. So with that being said, if you want me to personally go over everything in your business, see if there's any improvements to be made, and potentially if we can help you make them, then like I said, there's going to be a link in the description for you to do so. If you have any other questions, there is also a link in the description to reach me on Instagram. You can send me a DM. I don't have any DM setters or anything like that. So it's going to be me actually personally replying to you if you have any questions about this. And like I said, hopefully you got some value from this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao, ciao.